Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to be with you today to speak about such an important topic. So today we're going to be speaking on the topic of understanding the voice of customers with AWS Solutions. So how can your organization be data driven into informing your strategy and have a positive business impact? So we'll get going today. On the line, so my name is Johnny Duval. I'm the AI and ML product manager on the AWS Solutions team that has built a solution over the past year that's called the Discovering Hot Topics Using Machine Learning. And on the call, you have Nihit Casabuala as well. He's a software development engineer here at AWS, and he'll take us through the second part of the presentation today to talk about more in-depth how we built the solution and how you can leverage it in your AWS infrastructure. So let's get started. We have quite a bit of topic to cover today. It's exciting. We have first, what's the opportunity for machine learning on AWS? How can you leverage machine learning, artificial intelligence for your business? We'll talk about that. We'll do an introduction also to AI and ML and AWS Solutions more specifically. So how you can leverage AWS Solutions to really make AI and ML real, how to operationalize it. That's essentially the role of our team here on AWS Solutions. Third, we'll be talking more specifically about the solution, discovering hot topics using machine learning, and how you can leverage this for your business. We'll do a quick demo of the tool and its dashboard, and we'll leave you in the end with some resources for you to take away and to get started pretty quickly. So that's what we have today. Hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. So what's the opportunity actually of machine learning? How do we get here? So there's kind of three trends that have brought us to this point today. Number one, it's data. So there's a proliferation of data capturing that is now happening in 2021, and that's due to the ubiquity of devices and sensors. So you can probably think of so many places in your organization where data is being captured today that perhaps wasn't captured a few decades before. So your smartphones, your laptop, you can think of your ERP system, your POS system in the retail business, your inventory management, your ERP. So there's so many places where data is being captured today. Also sensors, right? If you have sensors on your machinery, on cars. So there's many places where data is being captured that it wasn't before. So there's a big amount of data that's available in 2021. And how do you get value from it? Is now how name of the game essentially. The second trend is around machine learning. So the past 30 years, there's been quite a few scientific breakthrough that now allow you to do mathematical operations in deep learning for you to be able to make sense of the data and to use it. So that's another trend that's got us to the point today. And the last one is how do you understand the data? So we've all heard of Moore's law. There's more and more computing power being available for us to use as the year has gone on. And now we have tools and we have the computing power to crunch that data and to make sense of it and understand it better. So these are the three trends that are really important. So let's talk about data first. There's a mindset shift that needs to happen not only for individuals but for whole organizations. How do you put data at the middle of your strategy? So first, you need to make data an organizational asset. It's not something that should be in silos. They shouldn't be owned by certain departments. For example, I'll give an example of, for example, your customer service database. It can be combined with your order database to better understand operational issues. So that's a very small example, but you can think of so many places where data is being stored, and now it's about creating processes and pipelines to be able to collect that data and to store it in a centralized way, obviously with security in mind, for people who have access to that data. So it needs to be democratized. So, you have data in different places. You want to make sure it's easily available, but securely, obviously stored, for anyone that needs it. And you have to put it to work. So that's the last point. Through analytics and machine learning to be able to make better decisions, to create efficiencies, and to drive new innovations for your business. And ML is actually, it's being used. So it's really growing. We are expected to see $110 billion being spent in artificial intelligence by 2024. According to IDC, we have a Gartner report also that's saying that 75% of enterprises will go from experimentation and essentially the labs to really seeing business outcome, from AI. So that's in 3 years. So it's really short term. It's going to move fast. It's still early days, but it's really growing. And we've seen also 57% of organizations who plan on transforming their organization and their business to leverage AI. And essentially at AWS, we've seen it ourselves. We have more than 100,000 customers that use AWS for machine learning from different sizes. Um, we've seen startups, small companies, as well as enterprise benefit from it. It doesn't have to, it used to be that only large corporations were able to have that access to computing power, to analytical tools, but it's not the case today. There are some pre-trained models as well that allow for inference at a low cost. So it's available, and a lot of companies plan to take advantage um, of it in the next few years. So this is the stack that we have at AWS. We essentially call it, we have kind of those three layers there. At every level of the stack, AWS is investing in removing the undifferentiated heavy lifting so our teams can move faster. So you have different levels here. At the AI services level, we allow developers to easily add intelligence to any application without needing very deep machine learning skills. So you see all these services here. It'll allow you to do things like personalize the customer experience, forecast business metrics, translate conversations, extract meaning from documents, and more. So you can see here all the services that are available. At the second layer, we have Amazon SageMaker. So what this layer does is it's provide developer and data scientists with the ability to build, train, and deploy ML models at scale. So it's really a tooling and platform to allow you to use and to do more custom work on your workloads. And the bottom layer is the machine learning frameworks and infrastructure layer, and that's for expert practitioners. So they can develop on the framework of their choice, and they can use a managed experience in Amazon SageMaker um, to essentially get the work done. So this is more for experienced data science workers and practitioners. So how do you get started on your machine learning journey? As we mentioned, a data strategy, right? Where is the data? Is it available? How do we combine it to really extract value from it? Second is, and that doesn't change whether it's machine learning or not, is identifying the business challenge. So I think that really is upstream of anything, whether you decide to use machine learning or not. Business challenge comes first, and then how do you solve it? If machine learning is the fit, then that's where we can help. You can partner with us. We have a few solutions that accelerate development for these machine learning workloads, and we're definitely willing to help whenever needed. And one place where we do help and want to accelerate development for customers is for AWS Solutions. So this is the team essentially that myself and Nihit, who you will hear a bit later, is part of. So what we do is our mission is we share the broader AWS vision that AI will be infused into every customer's app and devices in the future. So this team, our mission is to make AI approachable to those looking for fun and engaging ways to get started. We make AI accessible to developers without deep data science or architectural best practice experience, and we make it applicable to customers' business needs. So that's our mission. Essentially, what we do is we have a library of a collection of vetted, um, ready-made um, reference architectures that you can deploy in your AWS account. Essentially, we stitch AWS services together to solve common problems. So the goal here is really if you have a certain use case and you feel like AI and ML is a good fit, we want to bring you 70 to 80% to full completion of your use case. And then that 20% is completed by yourself through configuration, integration. But we don't leave you with a single service. We want to make sure that we can accelerate that development for you and your team. So the topic of today is how important it is for the voice of the customer. So the way we see it is a lot of your customers are essentially forfeiting a lot of information. A lot of information is available online. There's a vast amount of data, and we believe that you can glean so much insight from that data. And there are a lot of tools out there that allow you to do sentiment analysis and to better understand this data. But how do you put it in context, and how do you make it work for your business in real time? So that's what we'll be talking about today. How are you able to understand the needs and wants and expectations from your customers? So that's why we built the Discovering Hot Topics solution. So what this solution does is it allows you to identify business opportunities from your customers. So there's a vast amount of information. How do you get insights from it at scale? How do you put it into context within the wider market or industry landscape? And how do you make it make sense for your business? So Nihit will give you a bit of a demo. So we'll be able to show you how you can react quickly to growth opportunities. So whatever comes up, how do you take advantage of it? How do you address negative brand associations? Anything that's being negative said about your brand, your business, your products, certain themes. How can you react to it in a quick fashion before it goes into crisis management? And then how do you deliver customer satisfaction by really coming ahead of the needs of your customers. So we'll be talking about a few ways to do so. So I'll pass it on to Nihit, who'll be talking about more specifically the different aspects of the tool. So Nihit.
Okay, thanks, Johnny. And I'm sure everyone, you'll be excited to listen and hear about what the solution is about. Like, there are a lot of questions. How do I listen to the voice of my customer? So we'll start with how the tool, once you deploy it in your AWS account, how the tool looks like, how the solution looks like. We'll start with the experience as an analyst persona, and then we'll dive into details about how it works and how you can use it and how you can configure it for your own specific use cases. So to start with, what you see is a screenshot of one of the worksheets with some charts on the page. And just diving into a little bit of those charts, the leftmost side on the top is a list of what we called as topics. So what are topics? Topics are basically dominant conversations that customers are having about your brands, about your policies, about any product launches that you're doing, and in general, like what's their customer experience is about, specific to your business and organization. So the solution has that capability to detect the most dominant conversations about your products. Next to the table is a donut, which is a sentiment classification, uh, to say a, a sentiment classification between mixed, positive, negative, or neutral. In the second row is a word cloud of phrases or words that make up the topic that's there as the first chart in the first row. So when we go through a little bit of a demo, we can talk about a little bit more. But assuming that you would like to dive a little bit of a detail into what the topic is about, you can find out what phrases and words makes up that topic, and also look at the sentiment of that topic to say, is that topic of talking positively about myself, like as a business, or is it talking or customers complaining about some aspect of my business and that I would like to remediate? Next to the word cloud is a heat map, and that heat map is trending over a period of time of 5 days or 7 days. Now, a heat map not just gives you like an intensity of saying, oh, how many records or tweets or data that's associated with that particular topic, but it gives you a trend over time. So if there is an irregular spike that's occurring, you may want to look at it to say, is that irregular spike because something's gone wrong? Or maybe you launched a product as an organization or as a company, and you wanted to know if that product is gaining traction enough to, to see how it's being perceived in the market. And at the bottom is the third row, which is the raw tweet data. And the interactions on this dashboard are so derived that when you click on that a particular record, it actually takes you to that root or the cause of where that data is coming from. So if it was a tweet, for example, when you click on the particular row in that table at the bottom, it actually opens Twitter's web page showing you the exact tweet and whatever other information replies that are on that specific tweet. Now, one thing I would like to point out is this solution, which we call Discovering Hot Topics, comes with dashboard of this type pre-built. So all our solutions are CloudFormation deployables, in the sense you could, and we'll give you the resources link towards the end, but you basically can deploy them out of the box, including this particular dashboard, and get it running in about 25 minutes. So that's the power of AWS Solutions when you try to solve the use case. Now, let's roll the video clip and see how the solution looks like. Okay, so in this video, if you see, I clicked on the heat map, which was a hot topic. It had a spike on it. And then I see something which is of interest to me. I click on a specific phrase, and then I want to look at the sentiment. So I get the data corresponding to that particular sentiment. So I was able to look at the heat map, the intensity of the heat map, specific phrases within that particular topic that made up that particular, the phrases that made up the topic, and then look at the sentiment corresponding to it. So coming back to our slide deck, I think by now, I'm sure the questions that would go through your mind would be like, how does this work? And like, what's the internals of it? How can I use it and deploy it in my account? So let's try and answer some of those questions. As I said before, discovering hot topics, the key feature of this is the ability to detect dominant conversations. So it ingests data from Twitter and RSS news websites. That's the implementation that comes out of the box as of now. That's what we provide with the solution. We are planning to add YouTube as well. It's probably going to be launched as a next iteration of a release in next 4 weeks. Um, so you would have three sources that the solution would ingest from. As of now, it ingests RSS news websites and tweets. Can you add other sources? You definitely can. The solution is available as an Apache license, and from GitHub, you can fork a repo or clone it, and then add an additional ingestion adapter to connect to, for example, another social media platform that you would like. The solution is designed in a way that it has the ability to scale for the volume of text and images it ingests. The unique feature about the solution also is that it not only ingests a text and does an NLP analysis on it, but it also does an image analysis. And I'll dive into that image portion as well in the upcoming slide. But that's a unique feature which we feel separates this solution from social media sentiment analysis tools that are currently available in the market. It has the ability to provide real-time insights. So other than the topic modeling, which is a batch and it runs on a regular basis, the other insights are near real time. So a moment a tweet is ingested, all the machine learning inferences would appear on the output analytics in maybe like under 5 minutes. And because of the way the solution is designed to continuously track, it has the capability to build insights over a period of time. So you could actually see trending topics, trending sentiments of how the brand has been performing, how the organization business policies are performing. Any change, deviation causing any spikes would something that you could detect and infer from the trends of sentiment analysis. The dashboard that we provide out of the box has that interaction capability to click on something and then be able to dissect the data to introspect further into that. So that really gives you an in-depth view as to what specifically is causing something positive or something that's negative. And on the image analysis front, what we also do is we use Amazon recognition to detect if the images that are associated with the tweets have any graphic content or explicit pictures or any obscene gestures, for example. And if they are something that are associated with the tweets that are connected to your brand, you would want to probably remediate it. I'll also try and speak about some use cases of where these things apply. But let's dive into a little bit of the architecture, and then we can look into how do these use cases apply to your business. So at the top of it, this solution uses Comprehend for NLP analysis or natural language processing. It has a multilingual capability. So we use Amazon Translate to convert text that is coming in non-English to English. The solution also has a capability that if the language is not known from the source, it can detect the language and then do the translation. Right? And of course, Amazon recognition, as I mentioned. So recognition we use in two ways in the solution. One is to guide on content moderation. The other one is to detect text from within images and do an NLP analysis on the text from the images as well. So the text is also subject to the same NLP analysis which a regular tweet or a RSS newsfeed would undergo. The backbone of this solution is the workflow and the messaging services, which is based on step functions and event bridge. The beauty with event bridge is you can define additional targets to customize the solution to say, based on certain inferences, you may have your internal microservices or internal systems that you want to receive any notifications. So you could extend this solution and integrate it into your organization's infrastructure. On the analytics side, Amazon QuickSight provides the BI tool or the analysis of it. And Glue and Athena provide the engine to query the data from an S3 bucket. On the storage and Lambda, on the storage and compute side, we use Lambda functions and DynamoDB. Uh, Overall, if you look at all these components together, it's a completely serverless architecture. And you don't pay in reality for the solution, but you pay for the services that the solution would consume. Let's try and see like what machine learning services exactly and how we use it and how like what does it do, what inferences does it provide. So we have topic analysis. Topic analysis, as I said, it's a classification algorithm. You give it a bunch of documents, it will group them to say these records form conversation 1, another set of records form conversation 2, another set of records conversation 3, and so on, which means it allows you to detect the dominant conversations in a volume of data. And you would like to know whatever those dominant conversations are they talking positively about your products or brands, or they talk about negatively in some context and customers complaining about some aspect. Image analysis is another key feature. So image analysis, if you analyze memes, GIFs, JPEGs, preview screenshot of videos, and we subject it to two key features of Amazon recognition. So one is to detect moderated content. If anything, there's obscene, offensive in those images. The second thing is we use the text and subject it to the same NLP analysis that a regular text would undergo. The third feature is text analysis. So detect phrases, entities, and of course the sentiment of those. So phrases would be generally nouns that are present in the tweets, and entities would be names of people, places, names of organizations. So just to know what entities are being referenced in a tweet and is the sentiment around them being positive or negative. So let's dive a little bit into what exactly is topic analysis, right? So what is a topic? And I've been talking a little bit and giving bits and pieces of information about it's a group of phrases. So what you see on the screen is a snapshot of the dashboard, which has a list of all the topics like 001, 002, 003. Those are basically the classification groups that the topic modeling job has found. One example of the phrases underneath the topic is, so when we were running and testing a solution, uh, on May 20, there was a topic that was detected. And if you look at some phrases, it'll say studio, MGM, buy. So this was about Amazon trying to buy or in talks to buy MGM Studio. And a few days later, of course, it bought it. But you can just imagine like this is how the phrases would be to get you a feel of what a topic is. Another example, if we look at the phrases, it's actually talking about the movie Cinderella that was launched a few days back on Prime Video. And it is talking about a film. Camila is the actor who's basically playing the role of Cinderella, and it's Amazon Studio. So those phrases are making up a conversation. So this is what the topic modeling job does, and it tries to detect the dominant topics. Just on that previous note, the solution has the capability to detect up to 100 topics, but we have configured by default as 10, and you can definitely increase or decrease more as a part of your deployment configuration if you would like to hear, like reduce the number of key topics to let's say 5, 7, or maybe 15 or 20. we found 10 as the right balance, and that's the reason why the default has been set to 10. Okay. So this is the dashboard whose video clip, we played a few minutes back. And to iterate on, or to just zoom in on a couple of ones which I didn't mention initially, a number 3 and number 4. So number 3 is a near-term trend of the sentiments corresponding to the topic. And as I mentioned, this solution does continuous tracking of data and builds trends. So this is an example of exactly, it is building up a 7-day trend of the sentiment corresponding to the topic. And the number 4 is a longer term trend. So we do a 30-day trend to see how that sentiment's. Any spike in positive or negative, and something that you would like to tie with any specific events within your organization, product launches, or something that went around, uh, you can dive deep. So when you click on specific points on that date, the rest of the dashboard would then refresh to show you the data corresponding to that particular event. And that gives you the context behind it. Okay. Another one to mention, I think there's a heat map as well, right? And we saw in the video how the heat map with the high intensity was clicked, and then we had phrases corresponding to it. So the use case for heat map, and that to trend it over time, was to identify spikes. And you may have intensities of, let's say, 200 tweets or records on a specific day, maybe 225 on another one, and all of a sudden spikes to 1500 on a third day. That spike is an anomaly or an abnormal trend that you would like to investigate further and find out what happened. And that was exactly what the video demo was about. So this is the topic modeling portion of the dashboard. Let's talk about image analysis. Right? Now, on the image analysis standpoint, there is a different worksheet tab. And to give you an idea, the top and the bottom portion of the worksheets of this particular worksheet tab has different information. So on the top, whatever phrases or words that the solution detected within images is presented as a word cloud. And we do an entity analysis and a key phrase analysis, like NLP analysis on them. And the table on the right side, number 3, is where it shows you the exact location within the tweet where these have been found. The bottom portion is the moderation. So if you look at the labels, you can see it says, like, is there an adult toy, or is there an alcoholic beverage, smoking, any kind of explicit scenes. So it also provides you the root cause or the place where it found that information. As a use case, image analysis has been very helpful to find out brand infringement or copyright infringement, like people trying to create fake images using logos of known brands. We have also found it very useful with customers when working with customers. To give you an example, if you have a cartoon character and that cartoon character is being portrayed in a negative context, meaning say smoking, or being showing obscene gestures, you would not want a character that's associated with kids to be showing something like that. Right? So brand associations with negative connotations is something that the image analysis helps you detect. The last one is the text analysis. And in text analysis, what we detect is phrases and entities. And entities corresponds to, as I said, organization names, dates, place of the name of a place, name of a country. So how could you use a text analysis? If you're looking for a change, for example, your business and you are in a travel and hospitality, if I may take a very specific example, because of current pandemic situation, you would have to do a lot of amendments to your policies. And you would like to know how has the customer experience been. Detecting phrases and entities would and the sentiment mashed into it would allow you to find out, are customers complaining about the changes? Are customers facing any inconvenience because of it? Um, if you're a restaurant, are there huge lines that the customers are complaining about? So using this feature, and there's that way even to search on these dashboard is you can search for a keyword, say COVID or pandemic or complaints, and then try to go into very specific inferences of those keywords to see what the sentiment is around. Another aspect that we don't advertise or don't talk too much is actually the geographic distribution of tweets. And here, the reason we don't advertise too much is not all tweets or not all records have geographic or geotagging or geofencing information with which they come in. But if your data that you're ingesting has geographic information, you can actually filter by geography as well to find out what's been trending positively in one area and what's trending negatively in another portion of the geography. So that is the power of this particular tool. So here, this is an example where we focus on a very specific portion of the geography, and then we look into the entities and key phrases, corresponding sentiment as well. And then when you click on those entities, you can actually dive further into what those tweets about and what the root cause is and what is the complaint or what is trending positively in that particular area. Okay, with this, we would like to do a small audience poll. Yeah, we would like your feedback on this particular poll, and uh, we can, once the poll is over, we can then open up for Q&A. Okay, over to you, Johnny. If there's something on the Q&A front that you would like to talk about.
Yeah, sure. Thanks everyone for engaging. We received a few questions here over the time of the presentation. We have one here that we have a few here actually that are coming through. So don't hesitate to add your questions on the tool. So Nihit, there's one question for yourself that's asked by Darren Marshall. He's asking not Python or Tableau. Is there any integration with Tableau, essentially?
So by default, of course, the tool uses Amazon QuickSight as the BI tool, Darren. But for sure, if you would like to integrate with Tableau, uh, you can customize it. So the data is sitting in Amazon S3 bucket. And if that S3 bucket is part of your data lake, and there's a way that Tableau can read from that S3 bucket or from the data lake, for sure, you can. That's one way to customize. The other could be you can use the Amazon Event Bridge, like the AWS Event Bridge, to route all the data to a location from where Tableau can read. So you have multiple options to configure with Tableau. Okay.
Sounds good. Darren, I hope this answers your question. You have a question from Johannes Eimer. So you can listen to a can you listen to a Twitter stream, a tweet stream, can be done in a serverless architecture? So can listening to a Twitter stream be done in a serverless architecture?
Yeah, so what we do is we don't do streaming with Twitter. We use what is called as a search API with Twitter. And there is a regularly scheduled job that basically gets triggered through an AWS service, and that queries or pulls data from Twitter. Streaming with Lambda with serverless architecture is not possible, and hence we decided to use this particular option. The throttling limits or any API limits and the capabilities are absolutely the same, irrespective of streaming or with the search API.
Thanks, Nihit. We've got a another question here. By Jung-Hoo Kim, who mentioned you mentioned a Git repo that could be forked. Could you let us know which repo it is?
Yeah, so we'll be sharing that resource shortly. Yeah, that's so you can look at that Git report details as well. It's basically from our landing page, which we'll put it up shortly. You can actually go to the location of the source code, and that location of the source code is the Git repo.
Yes, we'll be sharing some resources at the end. If you want to look it up right away, you can just type AWS Solutions implementations, discovering hot topics using machine learning. You will land on the landing page for the solution, and there's going to be some assets for you to read through, an overview, the architecture diagram, the link to the GitHub repo. As you know, it's an open source project, and you'll be able to deploy it directly into your AWS account. So it's really that simple. So again, discovering hot topics using machine learning.
Yeah, I just
Um,
pasted the Git repo as well. So
Sounds good. Awesome. We've got another question from Sanaz Vafai. Is this able to read text data from S3 bucket?
okay, so as of now, we have not designed that portion, but as I said, it's something that you can definitely customize a solution to read. So you basically write your own ingestion adapters to be able to read from the S3 bucket.
Sounds
I
good.
hope, Stanas, that answers the question. Let me know if you have a follow-up on that one.
Awesome. Okay, I'll keep going through the questions, Nihit.
I can take up the questions. That's okay, Johnny, with you then.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So you mentioned presentation about a Git repo. I pasted the Git repo as well. I sent it in the send all. So if you're not able to see it, please let me know. Would you require subscription to the service? So you do require what is called as the developer Twitter account for tweets for Twitter, and every social media platform has its own. They provide a certain limit as free services, and beyond that is something that you may have to subscribe to the platform. Again, this is a very platform specific question. Um, by default, the solution that we build is something that you don't need to pay for a service. So if you are within those limits, you, um, you can use the standard API without paying for any of the services with Twitter or any of the social media platforms. Okay. Does a solution constantly ingest all of Twitter and RSS feeds? Yes, so there is, as I said before, we have a scheduled job that runs, and that configuration is something that you can even configure and say, I want to run it less frequent, I want to run it more frequent. By default, it's configured to 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, it pulls data, and that's how we are able to do a near real-time trend of the inferences from the ingested data. For RSS feeds, it does only once in a day. It takes at a specific time, but you can sure increase the frequency based on your specific use case. What would be good to see? Amazon Connect. So there is a question specific to Amazon Connect transcription data into this. Okay, so the question is, what would be good to see in the next iteration for this is to integrate with Amazon Connect transcription data. We have built a similar solution with Elasticsearch for Kibana, but have an end-to-end solution with Amazon Connect would be nice. I think, Sana, that's a great use case. If you have somebody whom you're working from an AWS account perspective, like if somebody who represents AWS in your account, you can connect through them to us, and probably we could look at more details into specifically this scenario and maybe work together as well to see if there is something end-to-end beneath. It's an interesting scenario. It's an interesting use case using Amazon Connect from a call center standpoint too. So we are open to such product feature requests. If you have somebody from AWS who represents your specific business, please have him connect to us and then we can work together. What algorithm were used for the ML models in the solution? So Chetan, it uses the AI ML services directly, and though they have pre-trained models that these services have. So other than topic modeling, which is again a comprehend service, the rest of the services have a pre-trained model. Topic modeling is the one where it runs as a job. It does the training on the fly using an algorithm called LDA, which is a basic topic classification algorithm. And then it runs the analysis as well for the data that you have put in. So I hope that answers the question for you, Chetan. Does the tool offer a way to put a number on the sentiment so that over time you can approximate improvement or lack thereof? Part number to it. I am not sure if I understand the question. Does the tool offer a way to put a number on the sentiment so that over time you can approximate improvement? Are you talking about sentiment aggregation in the sense how many negative, how many positive? Yes, in that case, you can add a number. You can get a count of how many positive, how many negative, even on the line charts. So you can actually quantify to say, oh, they were 300, now they come down to 250. There's a difference of 50. So you can do those kind of analysis on the charts as well. The numbers don't pop up here because the screen's small, but if you enlarge and maximize the chart view, you would get those specific numbers. Even taking the mouse cursor on top of them will give you the numbers. Is the underlying topic modeling algorithm tweakable? So all the AI services can be customized to use your own models, but that means you're not hitting the pre-trained endpoints, you are hitting your own custom endpoints. That would mean customization to the solution, provided rest of the workflow remains the same. So you can deploy your own trained models, including topic modeling, but you have to be hitting a different endpoint because that's where your model endpoint would be in comprehend or in recognition. And you need to customize what that endpoint is. Does your sentiment analysis use translate text from the videos to perform, or can it be actual video file? So David, we don't directly analyze the video. We actually analyze the text within a preview shot of a video. So there is no video analysis. It's an image analysis that we do. And we are not doing a conversion of the text in the sense a transcription of the audio from the video, right? Now, your question is specific to say, if I had non-English in the video or in the preview shot or within the image, like how do I say it? The language in that is not English. Do I do a translation of that? No, we don't do a translation of that at this point. But that's a good use case. Amazon's recognition capability is to be able to detect Latin scripts. So it can understand or it can detect characters from most English and European languages. It doesn't work for all the languages, right? And then of course you can subject it to detect the language in comprehend. We don't do it right now. It's a good use case. If you would like to talk about it again, if you have an AWS representative that you work with, you can connect with us. We would like to get into that, or maybe you can even raise a PFR on GitHub for us. And if you find good traction, we may even look at implementing that particular use case. You can raise a product feature request on GitHub. Okay, Johannes, so listen to a tweet stream can be done in a serverless architecture. Yes, I think I answered that question to some extent. You basically what the architecture, what the solution does is it uses a Lambda function that's called through a cron kind of schedule, and it's triggered at a certain frequency, say every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, and it has a query parameter basically to the information that you want to listen to. And there are some operators that Twitter supports. So it makes a call to the API, gets a tweet, performs the analysis. And then the Lambda instance shuts off because it's a serverless architecture. Next time again, gets invoked, makes a call, brings the data. Yeah, I guess that's the end of all the questions I see. If there's anything else that I missed, please let me know.
No, looks like it's we covered them all. Thanks, Nate.
Perfect.
So
Over to you, Johnny.
we're coming to the end. Thanks, Nate. We're coming to the end of the session. It was a pleasure to be with you. We'll leave you with a few assets here, a few places to get started. First off, you can learn more about the solution, the Discovering Hot Topics Using Machine Learning solution. We plan on adding functionalities to it, adding benefits to it. We've gotten a few questions here that we don't take lightly, and we will be able to kind of address it as we go forward. So keep track, keep up to date. Here's a link. You can see here. It's AWS Solutions Implementations / Discovering Hot Topics Using Machine Learning. You can go on there right now and see the different assets that are available to you. One of them being the implementation guide. So it's just really a walkthrough that's been put together for you to better understand how to use it. What's the step-by-steps to get it implemented in your AWS infrastructure, a cost table, etc. So you can get a lot of that information there. We also have included the solution in solving with AWS Solutions demo video. So you can find it on YouTube. You can go on YouTube, type solving with AWS Solutions, discovering hot topics using machine learning. We have a short video of a few minutes that could give you an overview again of the solution. And lastly, we wrote a blog on the architecture blog of AWS, where we talk about the solution as it's being used in a media and entertainment use case. The solution is available for multiple use case, but in this case, if you're in a media entertainment business, we really go through a fictional use case, how you can go about using this tool for your business and to achieve positive business outcome. And that's it in terms of the resources. Obviously, as Nihit said, if you have any feature requests, you can talk to your AWS rep or connect with us directly through the GitHub. Leave us some comments. We'll be able to get back to you in a prompt manner. So we'll go to the next slide. So thank you for being with us today. It was a pleasure to share this with you. Hope you saw value. You're able to go back to your team and really get started on the voice of your customer and kind of put together your data sources and understand what your customers are saying about different products, services, or policies that you have out there, and really gain insight from that. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Johnny Duval. You can see my contact here as well as Nihit Casabwala. You can reach out to me through here. I'm also on social media as well as Nihit. Don't hesitate. And it was a pleasure to be with you. Hope you have a nice rest of day, and we'll see you. We'll stay in touch. So thanks, everyone.